Hey, what's up? This is Gary from Raz Rentals. Welcome to part 3 of my Ghostbusters movie toy retrospective and comparison battle. There have been 3 Ghostbusters movie lines: Matty Collector, Diamond Select, and Hasbro. I like all of them, but I don't think there's a perfect line among them. They all have some really good things going on, and they also have some problems. So I figured, why not take a look at all 3 of them and figure out who did what the best here? Who did the best likenesses, the articulation, the ghosts, the accessories, so on and so forth. And I broke it all down into 16 categories, and I've been going through and comparing each one of them. In part 1, I talked about each line's history and the figure count and the packaging. Figured out what was all cool about all that stuff. In part 2, I mostly took a look at the Ghostbusters, figured out who had the best likeness, sculpt, paint, articulation. And in this one, part 3, I'm just going to be talking about pretty much all about the equipment and accessories that the Ghostbusters come with. First, I'm going to talk about the Proton Packs. Then I'm going to talk about the accessories in general, ghost traps, PKE meters, Geiger meters, so on, so on, so on, so on. And then I'm going to end it with the slime blowers. So, let's get started. Category 10, Proton Packs. Surprisingly, I think every company did a very decent job of creating the Proton Packs in 3D for these little 6-inch and 7-inch action figures. But I think one company did better than the others, and we're going to find out which company that is. Now, as you can see here, I have this cool Ghostbusters Ultimate Visual History book written by Daniel Wallace, and this is an amazing book for any Ghostbusters fan, and if you don't have it, you should hunt it down. And inside of it, there's this awesome shot of the Proton Pack, because when you're watching the movie, it's kind of tough to make out all this, all these details and everything like that. So having a book like this where you can actually see this very clear and nice right in your face, it's great. So when I was trying to compare these toys, the Proton Packs and the toys, I mostly compared them to this picture of the Proton Pack in this book. Also, before we take a look at the Proton Packs, here's a quick look at the Matty prop Neutrona wand. And this is, from what I understand, this is pretty movie accurate. So here's some of the key points on here that we can look at to sort of base the, the little toy versions on and, compare to make sure that they're somewhat accurate to the movie. All right, you got the nozzle here or whatever, that extends. You have the wire that connects here. You have this little piece that comes off next to the grips, and you have these 2 little buttons or tabs. I don't know what anything is called on this, by the way. You have the clipboard sticking out here. You have a light here. You have a little knob right here. You got one right there. You got these little things here. On this back panel, you have 2 switches plus this thing, which you use to extend the wand. Over here, you have 2 more switches, and you have the light. You have these 2 little knobs here. Well, that's a light, but I don't know what this is for. And then you have this tube right here. And over here you got the heat sink and just a couple other little tiny bits. And on the bottom, you have the V-hook, so you could hook it up to the Proton Pack. First up, we're going to talk about the Matty Packs. And the Matty Packs are a big deal because this was the first time that we ever saw a movie-accurate pack in toy form. Before that, when we were kids, we all had real Ghostbuster Proton Packs, and finally, around 25 years later, we finally got toys of the movie pack. And, this looks really good. I think, in general, the shape of it is very nice. It looks very similar to how it appears in the film. The only negative is that I think it's possibly a little too small. I think it should be bigger on the back. In some ways, it just kind of looks like it's stuck on there. I think some of that is because, like, on the back, you have the Alice frame in here, and even that is kind of small. But at least it's there. You at least have the Alice frame here, and then you have the straps are supposed to connect to that, but they don't because it's just plugged into the back. So at least you have the hint of that kind of being how it's supposed to be built, but I don't know. There's just something about it that maybe just looks a little stiff or something. I mean, but it's a Proton Pack, it's supposed to be like a big block almost. And in general, like I said, I think the shape of it is good. The proportions of it are pretty nice, from like the clipper to the filler, the filler tubes, and you know, the wires and the tubes up here, and you know, the crank generator and the booster, and you know, the power cell and all that kind of stuff. It all looks good. It looks like it all fits together. You know, maybe like these injector tubes should like be stuck out a little bit. And I only know all the names of these things because I looked it up. Like I looked it up on gbfans.com, and I learned too that apparently they didn't have any names for all this stuff back when they made Ghostbusters 1, but in 1999 a group of Ghostbuster fans decided to come up with names for all these little bits and pieces to try to, I guess, make sense of the whole thing. And so here are the few things that are missing, and like I said, there's not many of them. It is pretty well done, this pack. And you know, like where there should be stickers, like down here on this end filter and on the bumper here and on the crank generator there, instead of putting stickers, they put paint. And I'm fine with that. You know, it's small. It'd be hard to get really small detailed stickers on here. And, you know, also stickers fall off pretty frequently, so I think it's fine the way they did it. One of the things that is missing is there should be an ion arm sticking down from here. There's also a wire. There should be a red wire coming out of this little cylinder. This is the HGA. And that red wire comes down here, and I think it goes into this. There's a space right in here, I think. Somewhere around here, there's the one piece. It's like behind, it's called the PPD. It's kind of like a cylinder, you know, and there's a little like box behind it that red wire should come down from this and go into that. Other than that, pretty much all the wires are all there. Like, they did an amazing job. The cyclotron looks pretty good. That's the circle here. Proportion wise, it all looks decent. Like, I think they did an amazing job with this. Being like, it's so small, but they did a really good job of capturing the look of it from the film. Now, I'm going to talk about something very negative about this Proton Pack, though, right? Now, as you can tell, this Proton Pack is broken. Why is it broken? Well, you see, down here, there's a little piece. Let's see if I can... There's a little extra piece in here that's plugged in and glued into place, and that's where the Proton Pack wire comes out and connects to the Neutrona wand, right? But for whatever reason, like, they made the wires for these really, really stiff. So when you're trying to move these around and pose them and all that kind of stuff, this just snaps after a while. And, you know, I've had like 6 of these Matty Proton Packs snap this way. So that's a huge bummer, because how are you supposed to attach that to there? Maybe like drill a little hole or something and glue it again, but like, you don't want to do all that. That's no good. So I will show you this. This is the first Matty Ghostbuster that came out. This was the San Diego Comic-Con Slimed Egon, and this one is way better than all of the other Ghostbuster packs because you see this tube? This is like rubber. Like, this is hard plastic, and then they made this rubber. So this is a rubber piece glued, stuck in here. The only, you know, maybe negative you could think of is that the wand itself is kind of rubbery and kind of bendy. But, you know, all you have to do is just angle the hands in the right spot, and you can straighten it out. That's fine. So this wire is perfectly fine. I'm actually thinking about maybe buying some more slimed Egons, popping the Proton Packs off of them, and putting them on the other standard Ghostbuster figures I have, because now Winston's broken, my Peter's broken. Yes, Peter is broken. And I'm sure it's only a matter of time before Ray breaks. So don't steal that idea from me. Let me do that, please. Okay. So the wire itself, I mean, looks nice. If we look at the wand here, the details on this are pretty nice. Like, it's really well done. Some spots here, like, you have this little tiny switch. There should be 2 switches there. There should be 2 switches here on this side. But, you know, like, it's fine. Like, it looks good. Like, just having that one is good. You have these 2 lights here. That's how it's supposed to be. You're missing a wire that's coming out of this tube and plugging into here. But in general, like, the overall look of it is very nice. And even though, like, there's even like little tiny nubs or, you know, things here to kind of show the lights, or on the new the new wand, you push the button and it makes different sounds for the Hasbro wand, the life-size one. So, like, they did a very good job of trying to capture all the details as best as they could, and, you know, where they could, they still made it very nice. So I gotta say, this wand looks really, really good. Another thing missing from the Proton Pack really quick is there should be a clip right here. There should be a clip for this ribbon, and that's missing, but, you know, it still looks fine. The paint on this all looks very nice. All the wires that are here and painted, it's very clean. Even on the rainbow here, the rainbow cable, it's all very clean. It looks nice. Like this, even though you might think it's too small, it's still very, very nice looking. And plugging the Proton Pack, or the wands on the pack, is very easy. You just kind of have a tab sticking out, and there's a very big hole, and you just stick it in there and you're good. And like, these stay in very well, you know, when they're not breaking. Like, look at this, come on. Look, you can stick it underneath the Alice frame and kind of pretend that it looks fine. But why should I have to do that? Here's like one of the other than the breaking, this is the other negative thing about this Proton Pack, is that, you know, they have the straps that go over the shoulders, and that looks fine, even though they're sculpted onto the body. It still looks fine, you know, it's a nice design, whatever. But this strap right here, it's supposed to go around their stomach to the other side. And for whatever reason, they only sculpted this strap up to here, and then they didn't put anything here, and then continued the strap over here. Why wouldn't they just go all the way and sculpt it all the way around and paint it? You know, all the other paint on these Matty figures looks great. Like, the Matty figure paint is actually one of the best. So I don't understand why they kind of, you know, just didn't go all the way with that one. So I covered this a little bit in some earlier categories about sculpt and articulation. How well do the Neutrona wands fit in the Ghostbusters hands? Well, these fit really good. As you can see, it looks as though it looks like their hands are sculpted specifically to these Neutrona wands. Like, they're not just generic hands. They look like they got their thumbs sticking out so they can, you know, push the button. Their hands wrap around the front of it really good. There should be like grips on this in real life on the front of the Neutrona wand, but I think it's fine because the hands grab this so well. Like, I don't care that the extra detail isn't there because it works out really well. And, you know, it's just good. You can move this around and the Neutrona wand doesn't fall out of the hands. Alright, so if you look at the removable packs from the Ghostbusters with the removable packs in the Matty line, these are actually made a little differently than the standard Proton Packs that came with every other figure. If you look at the regular Proton Pack, you'll notice that like some things are floating above the pack, like these tubes and the wires, and even the rainbow cable. They all stick up a little further, and they're actually not connected to the pack. Well, you know, they're not they're attached. You know, they're connected in here. Like you could see in the crank generator here, how that tube plugs in there. Where on the removable pack version, it doesn't plug in there. It's just sculpted on here. So there's no gaps or anything like that underneath the tube. It's just all one solid piece. And so I think out of these two Proton Packs, I prefer the standard packs. Alright, so if we look at the diamond Proton Packs, they do, you know, they're pretty well done. I like them. And some of them have more stickers than others. I think the Ghostbuster 2 Proton Packs have more stickers than their Ghostbusters 1 toys. There's some stickers missing here. But there also is like a sticker here on this piece that isn't on this. The, what is that? That's the attenuator or the PPD or something like that. Whatever this piece is here. I don't know if in Ghostbusters 2 they have this sticker on this spot and that's why they added it there. But, so that's just, you know, to start with. I'm going to talk about the Ghostbusters 2 one because I feel like that's the best one they have to offer. And this is on the Lewis figure. So, unlike Matty, they actually did put stickers here instead of putting, you know, little pieces of paint. And not all of them have one on this end filter, but this Lewis does have this little, and you could even read it. It says danger, and then I can't make out the rest because it's so small. You know, you got the blue sticker on the bumper, you got the red sticker up here on the crank generator, That's all good. You even have the ion arm on this, and I think in general, the shape of it is a little more 3D, a little more dynamic. So you have like the clipboard sticking out here, or clipboard. I don't know how you pronounce these things. You know, these stick out pretty nice. These tubes down here stick out more so. There's a little bit of a gap here where the injector tubes are. So I think that's better. The power cell up here looks good. You even have, I don't think it was it colored on the... I guess it was colored on the top of the crank generator. That was colored on the Matty one. And then you have the, you have the stickers over here on the HGA and all that kind of stuff. So that's good. I think Diamond did a really good job here. They even have the clamp here for the rainbow, what do you call it? The rainbow cable. So I think that they kind of covered even more stuff and got the shape. The overall shape, I think, is a little better. Let's see if I can try to brighten that up a little bit. I think the overall shape of this thing is a little better than the Mattel one. It's not as flat as that one. It sticks out. A lot of bits and pieces stick out more, and I think it looks more like the movie. And I think that in general, of course, this is Lewis, so he's tiny, but if you look at Peter here, I feel like this Proton Pack is a better fit for the size of his body. I think it looks possibly a little more accurate to the actual real size of it. And then, you have the Alice frame in here, and that actually looks really good. That's a separate piece from the Proton Pack, and it's, the color of it is really nice. And then you have all the straps going across, and the straps look very nice too. The straps just aren't painted onto the body or sculpted onto there. They're actually separate, and you actually have the strap going across the stomach. And I think it's fine. This is like, I really, really like the look of the Diamond Select packs. I like the Matty ones too, but the Diamond Select ones I think looks great. And all right, so you saw how the Matty Select Proton, the Matty Collector Proton Packs were breaking down here at the bottom, right? Well, these have the opposite problem. They don't break at the bottom of the Proton Pack. No, they break at the end of the wand. So, my Lewis has a broken wand. Egon's got a broken wand. They all seem to snap right here, right at the end, and that sucks. Cause like, what are you supposed to do to repair that? And it's not like, I'm really like messing around with these things or throwing them around. It's just a very simple break. So let's take a look at the wand here. The wand looks pretty good. The wand looks good, but I think that there is even less details on this than the Matty one. Like, you don't have any of the switches here sticking out. You don't have any switches here sticking out. You just kind of have little tiny circles sculpted into the side of it. You don't have this tube here, You do have the heat sink over here, just like the other one, except the Matty ones stick out a little further. And, you got the grips on the side, so that's good. And then you have this piece that, comes out. But some of these wires are messed up. Some of them look fine. It's a mixed bag depending on which Diamond Select figure you have. The bottom here, you have this, like, what is it called, like the V-hook or something like that. You don't have this on the Matty one because it just plugs into the side of the Proton Pack. This, however, you actually have you actually have that V shape here, so you can plug the wand onto that, right? But these are awful. You see how that, like, you just have like two little knobs on the side? So you can try to stick it on there the best you can, but they never stay on. They always fall off. I think the Ghostbusters 2 ones are a little better, because this is a Ghostbuster 2 wand. But in general, like, man, trying to get this thing... Look at that, I pulled his arm up when I was trying to do All right, so you have to be careful with this so you're not breaking it. The wire's bending it down all the time. You see, it doesn't even... Fine, whatever. Stick on there. So this is going on there, okay, but in general, they fall off all the time. Every one of them that I have is always just falling off all the time. So again, I went over this more in the sculpt and articulation of the Ghostbusters. How do they hold the wands? I think that they hold them not the best. Most of the times these wands fall out of their hands. You really have to kind of figure out which hand is the best hand that will wrap around the wand the best so that it won't fall out. But, you know, I don't know. It's not my favorite the way these are set up. And I think some of it is because I think the wands are too small. And if you look at the... I have these two wands here, right? And the bottom one is the Matty one, and the top one is the Diamond Select one. And they are roughly the same exact size. So, you know, the Matty figures are 6-inch scale, and the Diamond Select ones are 7-inch scale. Their arms are further apart. They need to have longer wands, but they don't. I think that these wands are too short. In general, they both look very nice, but this should be a little longer. So now we're taking a look at the Hasbro Proton Pack. And I think that this one is not as good as the other ones. For whatever reason, the proportions of this thing are off. It's really, really wide compared to how it should be. And, you know, some things are just really, really flat. Like, if you look at the top of it here, it should not be this flat. Like, the crank generator should be sticking out, and it'll probably... I think from what I can tell, it almost looks like it should be perpendicular with the booster. So it's very far in there. There's tubes that are missing here. Like, this tube looks fine. You do have a red wire and a black wire coming out of the HGA and coming down and plugging into things that there's... I think that they're right. I can't remember. But, I don't know. In general, it's just very... It's lacking, you know? It does have the ion arm, so that's kind of cool. A lot of things are not painted, of course, because this is Hasbro, and Hasbro does not paint their stuff, really. So, like, you have the rainbow ribbon, but it's more of a gray ribbon. They do have the clip here, so that's a plus, I guess. You know... And then, you know what I don't like about these Proton Packs? Is that they gave each one of these Ghostbusters... They only painted one of the holes on the cyclotron red. So, you know, Egon's got the top left, and, you know, Ray has which one's him and Peter, and so on and so forth. I don't like that. I think that was a mistake. I think they should just all be red. That would be better. You know, the cyclotron itself doesn't stick out as far as I think it should. The bumper appears to be too flat. They did go back to instead of putting stickers on here, they just paint the little spots where the sticker should be. And like I said, that's fine. I don't care about that. But in general, just the overall shape of this thing is not up to snuff. They could have did a little better here. And then the wand. The wand here is missing even more details than the diamond one. So, like, you don't have any switches here. You don't have any switches here. Of course, you're missing the tube. In general, the overall shape of this thing is just off too. Like, this is way too long. Like, if you look at how the wand is set up, the wand like goes to this grip, right? And then this is where the silver part should be. But then they added on this huge extra part and then the silver tip at the front here. And they don't even have the piece sticking off with the little tube in the front there. So it's missing a bunch of stuff. You do have this little tiny, you know, the part that is supposed to strap onto the Proton Pack. So that's okay. But in general, this is just not as good as the Diamond or the Matty Pack. The way it plugs in is fine. Just like the Matty one, you have a little tab sticking out here on the side of the Proton Pack, and you got the little hole in the bottom, and you can pop that in there. Now, here is a negative, though, and that I've started to notice. I've started to notice that this tab is starting to like wear down a little bit. I guess because the wire on this is the best wire of all because it's so thick and you can move it around and it doesn't feel like it's going to break. It goes in there very nice. It's connected to this, so it doesn't feel like it's going to snap at all. You know, that makes the wire on this the best. However, it is strong, so it kind of does pull this whichever way it wants to go. So after having it plugged in there for a very long time, I think it starts to, you know, kind of twist that on top of the tab, and then the tab just starts to wear down a little bit. If you look on this Proton Pack, I do like how they did the Alice frame. I do feel like it looks big, and it looks kind of like it makes sense to the body. They didn't paint it black like the diamond one, so, you know, that might have looked a little nicer if it was black. The straps do look good, even though there's no painted detail on them whatsoever. You do have the strap going across the gut, and, you know, it's fine. It's okay. I think one of the best things about these Hasbro figures is you can remove the packs fairly easily. You just unhook it here, and you can just kind of pull it off of them. That's great, because the diamond figures, you could technically remove the packs, but you weren't supposed to. So you could get them in a position and pull the packs off, but you're risking breaking some things. And then the Matty ones, you know, they weren't meant to be taken off at all. So how does this guy hold on to the wand? I think he holds it okay. I talked about it, again, more in my articulation and sculpt section, where, because of his articulation, you're able to get him into more dynamic poses holding this wand than all the other Ghostbuster figures that came out. The only problem is his hands are a little small. They don't wrap around the wand the best. And I think because this is kind of big, again, it's roughly the same size as the Matty one. So all of these are pretty much the same wand. For whatever reason, like, it works okay. It just doesn't look as nice as the other things. So here they are, the 3 Proton Pack designs. In general, like I said, I think they all look good. I think the only one that's kind of off is the Hasbro ones. There's certain things about it that, I don't know, they just didn't do it as well as they could have. And they didn't paint a lot of things that should have been painted. Even on the power cell on the Matty ones, you got the blue bar there. Same thing with the diamond one. So, you know, like, really, let's get rid of this. And now it's between these two. And here's the deal. I think both of these look fantastic. I think they look really nice. But I got to pick one here. I don't have to pick one. It could be a tie. But I'm going to pick one. And my pick is the Diamond Select Proton Pack. I think because you have all the little extra bits and pieces and things stick out a little further and it's a little more dynamic than the Matty one, it wins. And, you know, they did their best to put these stickers on, even though some of these stickers have fallen off of my Proton Packs. Don't believe me? There you go. But, you know, in general, I think that they did a really good job here. I think it looks very movie accurate. Now that we're done with the Proton Packs, it's on to accessories. The accessories is all the extra equipment and, you know, food and little extra bits that all the toys came with. And, of course, we're going to start with Matty. Matty had some amazing accessories. But the biggest problem for the line was that each figure would only come with, like, one accessory. Some had a couple, but mostly you only got, like, one apiece. So it took you a really long time to build up a decent amount of equipment. And, you know, this is a decent amount of the stuff they released, but not everything. I sold a couple of my Mattel figures like a year or two ago, so I don't have everything in hand, but I am going to talk about it, so don't worry. I'm going to try to cover everything. Okay, so here we have the Matty prop. And now, of course, like I said before, I'm not going to talk about the props in detail because they're not a part of the movie lines. They're kind of their own separate thing. You know, these look awesome, and I'm just kind of showing this so you can kind of get an idea of what the trap is supposed to look like, all right? The trap and the pedal. So, you can see you got this little thing here, you got the dial here. I don't know what all this stuff is called. On the front, you got the 4 dials. You have, like, these plates in the background. On the side here, you have another dial, and you have these rods. I can't remember exactly what they're called, but you know, that's what it looks like. The first strap we got in the Matty line came with the standard Winston action figure, and this one's pretty cool because the doors open up on top. So there you go, that's pretty cool. It's got 2 hinges. I mean, the top of it looks a little too big, but that's fine. You'll see why the top opens up in a minute. The details on the side of it are actually pretty nice. Although, you know, everything looks like it's there. It's just that they're a little softer than they should be. On the front, you know, the plate isn't painted, and it looks like maybe one dial is kind of missing there. On the other side, the rods in that dial are not colored the right colors. But in general, I think it looks fine. I think it looks good all the way around. And the pedal looks really good too. The pedal looks like it has hinges in the back, like you could actually push it down. It doesn't push down, but in general, it looks nice. I think one of the best things about this trap that opens is it comes with this awesome energy effect to make it look like you're catching some ghosts. I mean, that looks very nice. And you know what else is pretty cool? When they released this trap with the rookie, they released him with a effect that was orange. Pretty neat. Here's a shot of the energy coming out of the trap in the movie. And, you know, I think the Matty, the trap energy looks great compared to this. I think, you know, the Matty one is a little bit more full and all that kind of stuff, but it does a good job of capturing the feel of the whole thing. Another great thing about this ghost trap is that you can actually pull this wire out. So sometimes when you're trying to get it in the right position to pose it with your, you know, your action figure, sometimes it doesn't want to line up perfectly and the trap will get, you know, knocked over by the force of the wire. So you can just unplug it, get it how you want it, and then plug the wire back in, and it works fine. Unfortunately, they did release another trap that's a closed trap, and the wire doesn't plug into the back of that because the hole in that trap is too big. On the right here, you can see the second trap we got in the Matty line, and in a lot of ways, this one is actually better than the first one. First of all, you don't have those giant hinges on the side, and you can pose them holding it closed, like they're carrying it around. Like I said, you can't plug the wire into the back of it, so that's unfortunate. Some of the details look like that side looks pretty much the same. This side, however, though, looks a lot better. It looks more solid, and the different dials and stuff like that don't look as soft. And even on the side here, like on the back plates and stuff like that, let's see if I can brighten this up. They are just sharper. There's a certain sharpness, and it's more clear, and I think that this looks nicer. I also want to point out too that the wheels on the closed ghost trap, they look a lot nicer. It actually looks a little bigger than the one that can open and close. So we got this ghost trap with Walter Peck, and the main reason why we got it is because so we can stick it into the containment unit. Walter Peck also came with this the containment unit wall, and you know, this is amazing. And here, take a look at it in the movie. And now, welcome back, and take a look at it here. It's very cool. Obviously, they had to simplify some things so that they can actually, you know, sell this to you and all that kind of stuff, but it's great. So, here's the ghost trap. You can stick it in and put it in. Put it in. Oh my gosh. Why isn't it going in? There we go. You got to trick it sometimes. Sometimes you got to be a little clever about these things. So you got it in there. You can pretend that it's getting flushed inside. The light is green. The trap is clean. If you were curious, there is nothing on the back of this containment unit wall. Just in the front. One thing I have to point out, though, is that the Ghostbusters do not hold these ghost traps that great. Their hands are the grips are very wide so that they can hold their Neutrona wands, and, you know, the ghost traps just kind of, they're very wobbly. You can't even, you know, you got to angle it the right way to make it look like they're holding it in place. Looks like you can't even hold it with that hand. No right hand ghost trap. Left hand ghost trap is okay. So here's the Matty PKE meter prop, and you know, this thing was awesome too, but I'm just kind of showing it here so I can give you a reference of what this thing's supposed to look like. You got the 4 sets of buttons, and you have 2 red lights here. You got a yellow, red, and green light. All looks cool. You can get an idea of the general shape of this thing. From what I understand, this thing was like a shoe polisher or something like that. I don't even know. But it's funny that they turned such like a mundane object into such an amazing item that everybody remembers from the Ghostbusters movie. So here's the PKE meter that came with the standard Egon. Standard Egon came 14 months after the line began, because I think they just took their time because Slimed Egon was already out, so they just waited and released it so that we had to buy it a second time to get a PKE meter. And, you know, this looks pretty cool. Now, if you look, it does have all those little buttons on it. However, the lights don't match. And it's like such a small thing, but on this thing, you have the 2 red lights on the bottom, and up top, right by the little screen, you have yellow, red, yellow. But that's not all. Only a year later, we got a Lab Coat Egon, and Lab Coat Egon came with 3 different PKE meters, which is pretty awesome, I gotta say. Because, you know, they could have put something in here so that you could use, you know, move the wings around or whatever, and it probably would have looked clunky and probably would have broke or something like that. So, you know, you have one where they're completely shut, and also on all of these, the lights by the screen are correct. Yellow, red, green. So then halfway open, and then again, like the standard Egon, they have one where the wings are completely open. The PKE meter is the perfect size, and it fits in Egon's hand perfectly. Not to mention, because he has those trigger thumbs for the wand, his thumb goes up and kind of touches the buttons. So it's cool. It makes him look like he's actually using it. Standard Egon also came with this stack of books. But, you know, this stack of books is short and pointless. You know, who's excited about getting a stack of books? But also these books, they look kind of big for him. I think they look a little too big. They actually look like they should fit the Diamond Select figures. So here are the Ecto goggles that Matty released in the movie prop line. It's just so you can kind of get an idea of how these things are supposed to look. I think maybe there was a little controversy about these. I don't know if they're like perfect to how they look. I can't remember exactly. I do know that the backs on them kind of suck, and these, like, they never fit on my head the right way. And you can't like adjust the straps too much. But they look okay on your shelf. So here's the Ecto goggles that they released with Marshmallow Mess Ray. And, you know, these are unfortunate because they, like, squished them so that they could fit the right way on Marshmallow Mess Ray's face. So they squished it. So, like, the proportions are kind of out of whack. And, you know, it's really tough to see any kind of detail on these things. So you can fit these Ecto goggles on pretty much any of the standard Rays. And, you know, I think this is, like, the only unfortunate Matty Collector accessory. I feel like this is the one that, you know, they should have spent some more time on it, and they should have made it a little better, because it doesn't fit the head the best. It looks kind of goofy. And if you, like, wanted to trade out the better Lab Coat Ray head on any of your figures to actually make it look like his face is correctly proportioned, you can't really fit this on his head. His head is too big. So I wish that they would have made this thing bigger, and you know, that it could actually fit on the better sized Ray head. The Rookie also came with a pair of Ecto goggles, only they were made specifically for his head, so they look better than the Marshmallow Mess Ray goggles, but they don't fit on any of the Ray's heads. They have too big of a strap because the rookie has a big fat head. Marshmallow Mess Ray also came with a walkie-talkie, but most of the standard Ghostbuster figures have walkie-talkies sculpted onto their belts that you can't remove them. So it's kind of silly. Like you can't hold, like you wouldn't have your Ghostbuster hold the walkie-talkie in his hand and then also have the walkie-talkie on his belt. I also want to mention too that I forgot to mention this during my figure count video, but I should have mentioned it. The only way you could get Marshmallow Mess Ray was that you got him through the subscription plan on Matty Collector. So he wasn't a figure that you could buy throughout the year. You had to get the subscription plan for all the Ghostbusters that year, and you had to pay extra for him on top of that. And he's the only one that came with the Ecto goggles. So that was the only way you could get these Ecto goggles, was getting that subscription plan and getting your Marshmallow Mess Ray. The first time we got a Proton Stream was in November of 2010, and it came with the standard Peter Venkman figure. And I love this Proton Stream. I think it's great. It very easily just slides onto the front here. I like how it's a translucent plastic. It's blue and orange, and I just love it. I think it's great. It's very cool. It's very solid too, and I think it's great. And unfortunately, we didn't get these with any other standard figure. Which is a shame. So pretty much they kind of left it up to you for a while anyway to buy like 3 other Peter Venkmans so that you could have 4 Proton Streams all together. But if you did get Marshmallow Mess Ray came with his Proton Stream, and this one is different because this one actually glows in the dark. So that's pretty cool. So if you were collecting the line consecutively, you got 2 Proton Streams. And then later on when they released the 2-packs, the 2-packs each came with a Proton Stream for each Ghostbuster. So that's awesome. Finally, they did what they should have did from the beginning. Give the Ghostbusters removable packs, and also give the Ghostbusters a Proton Stream apiece. But these didn't come out until 2014. So unfortunately for you, if you didn't want to buy an extra Peter Venkman from 2009... well, from 2010 till 2014, you only had 2 Proton Streams. Even Hasbro now is like doing the same stupid thing where they're trying to make you buy like 4 Winstons in order to get 4 Proton Streams. I mean, come on, give me a break here. And like, here's the Proton Stream in the movie coming right out of Egon's gun. And look at how this looks next to the Matty Proton Stream. Like, it almost looks exactly movie accurate. Spoiler warning here, Matty made the best Proton Streams of all. Standard Peter Venkman also came with this stand, and unfortunately these didn't catch on really either. We only got this one with Peter Venkman, and then we got another one with Marshmallow Mess Ray, only that one was covered with marshmallow. And then we did eventually get them in the 2-packs. You got one for each Ghostbuster. But other than that, they didn't release these at all. And it's a shame because these do look nice, and I usually don't put my figures on stands anyways, but they just look cool, and the ghost glows in the dark. In the Toys R Us exclusive 4-pack, with the Ghostbusters in their charcoal uniforms, we did get Santa Claus hats, and these Santa Claus hats were soft, and there are like 2 variants of this 4-pack. You could either get one where the Santa Claus hats are on top of the Ghostbusters heads, or you'll get a pack where the Santa Claus hats are not on the Ghostbuster heads. Both Lab Coat Ray and Lab Coat Peter came with a ghost sniffer, and it's a pretty cool little toy. I like the details on it. I especially like how they did the straps here. Like, it actually looks like a couple straps being put together. I like it. I had to brighten this up because it is very, very dark. So the ghost sniffer in the movie is a little different. For one thing, that little thing that he squeezes, the tube that connects to that is yellow. Not to mention the little rod at the end of it, the thing he's holding in his other hand. I don't know what any of this stuff is called. I don't think anybody knows how the ghost sniffer works, but that metal rod in his hand should be a lot longer. But in general, they did a decent job of capturing the basic look of the Ghost Sniffer. The lab coat Peter also came with a video camera, but unfortunately I don't have that anymore because I decided to sell my lab coat Peter Venkman action figure. Slime Blower Winston came with this awesome tripod trap from Ghostbusters 2 from this scene right here, whenever they're in that jewelry store. And you know, I love this thing. I think it's really cool. I like the details on it. You can actually move the top around, like these little, whatever these are. I don't even understand what's going on there. I know that they're using this to catch a ghost, but I wish they would have actually elaborated on that scene a little more and showed more of it. And I also kind of wish that Slime Blower Winston would have came with 2 of these things. That way it actually, you know, you could line them up and make it look like they're trying to catch a ghost somewhere. Dana, or the Zool toy, came with a little bench, or, you know, from the rooftop scene, because she is like a statue, so you can kind of just like sit her down on top of it, and that's pretty much it. Lewis, or the Vince Clortho figure, also came with some really awesome accessories. First, he came with the pizza. You know, that's one of my favorite things that Lewis does, is when he rubs that pizza on his face. You got a jar of popcorn, and he also has the terror dog head, so you can put it on him. Would somebody turn on the lights? Love that. And not only that, but I decapitated him. He also has an extra head, so you can have him with his cool little colander helmet. When I get to the major manifestations category, I will tell you why I think the Mattel Vigo toy is obsolete. But you want to know what's really awesome? That Vigo from Matty came with this awesome lenticular poster or painting from the movie, and that's great, you know. Vigo, where'd he go? It looks great. It's a very nice reproduction of the painting from the movie. And if you flip it around, you even have the shot of the 4 Ghostbusters at the end of the movie. Not much else came out on the line until the final real figure, the courtroom Egon Spengler, who came out in July 2015, exactly 6 years after the line began. And I think that they knew, you know, it was over, so they decided to go out with a bang. So they just loaded him with a bunch of equipment from Ghostbusters 2. He's got the boombox. He's got a magnifying glass. He's got a slime scoop spoon. He's got the globuscope, which is something that Ray uses in Ghostbusters 2, as seen right here. He's got the KUD meter, also, of course, from Ghostbusters 2. He's got the Geiger-meter, although this looks pretty off from the movie. You know, in the movie, it's not silver like this. He's got the toaster. You know, everybody wants the toaster from Ghostbusters 2. And he also comes with the thermal mug. But unfortunately, there's no balloons inside. I really think that Matty did a great job with this line, with all their accessories and equipment. You know, obviously some things aren't perfect, but in general, you got a lot of great stuff. I think some of the best stuff about the Matty line, you know, is the cool energy effects, you know, from the proton stream to the trap stream. That all looks great. I also think that Diamond Select did a pretty decent job with all their accessories too. For the most part, I'm going to get into some things. You know, this line has more pros and cons, I think, than the Matty accessories do. So, but, you know, on the plus side, one of the coolest things about the Ghostbuster toys that they put out, they just came packed with stuff. Like, each Ghostbuster had 6 skinned hands. They also had, like, 4 gloved hands. It was a lot of hands, but a lot of those hands don't work out the best for what you're trying to do or what you're trying to hold. They all came with their own ghost trap with a pedal attached to it. That's great. They all had removable walkie-talkies. They had their own proton streams. And then they came with the diorama piece. And a lot of the figures also had their own special, unique, extra accessory. So You know, you could just get one guy and get like a whole ton of things and be, you know, set pretty well. These are all the accessories I have at the moment. I did used to have like pretty much every single Diamond Select figure, but I sold a couple of them, like Janine. She comes with a couple of accessories, and a couple other figures do too. I don't have them in hand, but I have pictures, so I will be able to show them and talk about what they came with. So let's get started here. First, let's talk about the Diamond Select Ghost Trap. Now, this is actually pretty decent. You know, I think there's a little bit more details in here, and some things are just ironed out a little bit, and because I think it's mostly because it's bigger, you can see more details clearer. I like how even underneath the foot pedal, you sort of have that little spring or whatever it is underneath. Like, that's all good. That looks very nice. The detail on the side here looks very nice, very sharp. You even have that little piece there painted. The top looks good, and you know, you do have the 4 switches, and the front plate is actually painted on this, which is great too. And on the side, the dial and the rods are all painted the right colors, so that's good. They didn't, you know, there is a sticker that's supposed to be on the back of this, you know, on the real Ghostbuster trap, but they didn't put that sticker on any of these traps. I'm fine with that. You can't take this cord out, but it is pretty long, and you can, like, it can be kind of stiff sometimes, so it might be kind of hard to pose your Ghostbuster with it at times. If you want to look at this thing next to the Matty trap, well, here you go. It's a lot bigger, and like I said, the detail on it, the colors are correct, except for those knobs on the front. Those aren't supposed to be green. Should be like black. And you know, in general, both of them look very nice, but the diamond one is probably a little better. All the Ghostbusters from Ghostbusters 1 came with the closed traps, and when they put out the Ghostbusters 2 toys, they came with open traps. Unfortunately, there's no energy effect or anything like that to try to simulate catching a ghost, so that is a bummer. You know, that's kind of a letdown for me. Also, the way that they wrapped the Ghostbuster 2 traps in the pack, like, they all came out like kind of bent and sort of creased and stuff like that. So these kind of, like, that annoys me too. At least the Ghostbuster 1 traps, the cord is very straight and looks pretty clean. The Diamond Select Ghostbusters only came with this one hand that will hold the ghost trap. If you try to hold it with any of the open hands, like, that is just not going to work for you. And it's a very, very tight fit. Like, you really have to try to jam that in there. And, yeah. But at least it fits in there so he can hold the trap. The other great thing about these Diamond Select Ghostbuster figures is that you can actually put the ghost trap on the belt. You know, you have this little tab hanging off the belt, and you got it there, and you can, oh, come on. There we go. You can just put it on there, and you can walk around with it. Both the Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2 Egon came with a PKE meter. And I gotta say, though, that, like, there's something about the shape of this that's just kind of off. I don't know. There's just something. I think they did a better job with the Matty version. And, you know, if you want to get super, you know, nerdy or whatever, the lights are backwards. Here it's green, red, yellow. In the movie, they are yellow, red, green. So, and not only that, but if you look at this thing compared to the Matty PKE meter, look at all the extra details on the Matty PKE meter. They have all the little buttons and that, like, switch in the middle of it. So, like, I don't know, if you look at the general shape of this one, it just looks so much more like the one in the movie. You can get Egon to hold the PKE meter pretty easily, so, you know, that's good. Ghostbusters 1 Egon didn't come with these stack of books. The Library Ghost came with this stack of books. And, you know, this is funny. Like, when did this become a thing? Like, are we going to get are we going to get a stack of books with every single Ghostbusters movie line? Like, that's what I want in Wave 2 of the Hasbro Ghostbuster figures. Give me a stack of books. That's what I want more than anything else. Give me a stack of books. And, you know, what's funny, too, about these is they're way smaller than the Matty stack of books. So, if anything, I feel like, you know, it's like this. Matty has the big books and Diamond has all these little tiny books. I feel like they should be switched around here. Both Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2 Ray came with a pair of ecto goggles, and these are great. They actually fit on the head pretty well. You know, if you can do it right. Jeez, come on. There we go. You got to put the front first, and then you get the back. But, you know, those actually fit his head really nice. Like, those look great. And look at these goggles next to the Matty ones. They, like, completely demolish and destroy them. The Matty ones are just kind of warped and kind of strange looking, but these ones, I mean, you can make everything out, and they look great. All of the Ghostbusters came with walkie-talkies that you can actually put in their belts, which is great. You know, it's a bummer that they keep on, Matty and Hasbro both have sculpted the walkie-talkies on their belts. Alright, so every Ghostbuster from the beginning of the line till the end came with their own proton stream. And you know what's actually pretty cool? With the real Ghostbusters toys, I'm not really talking about them, but I will mention them. They came with proton streams that matched their proton streams in the original toy line. That's awesome. But I hate these proton streams. I don't like them like at all. Like, they look okay, but these have problems. These have huge problems, man. First of all, when the first wave was released, they just packaged the proton streams. They forgot to include these little tiny plastic bits that you have to stick this into here, and then you stick this onto the proton pack, right? So the first two figures, I can't remember who was in wave 1, but they didn't have them, so you had to call up Diamond and tell them to send them to you, okay? So that already kind of started things off a little shaky, but on top of that, these things break like crazy. Like, I haven't even put these on my figures that much, and just being in the box, just like the slight bend of this little tiny nub that goes inside of here, just the slight kind of bend will break them right off. So, like, I didn't do that. I just looked at my box and it was like that. Most of these have broken like that. Like, I didn't break a couple of them, you know. I actually broke one off when I was trying to pull the plastic piece off. Sometimes the plastic piece just goes on and off, and sometimes you pull it off and it just completely rips it. So these, no es bueno, man. These are not my favorite. When you're putting the proton streams on here, there's a little tiny rivet or whatever in here so that you can match it up where that little piece comes off the front, and then you put it on there. But, you know, I don't know. And I never display these guys with these proton streams on, but I would imagine that these start to sag a lot. I'm sure that they start to droop and all that kind of stuff. Not to mention, you bump these things and you break them. And you know, what was worst of all was when I was trying to take a shot for part 1, when I was showing Winston battling the spectral Winston ghost. I accidentally broke his proton stream. And you know, those real Ghostbuster action figures are expensive. And like, I wasn't even doing anything. All I was trying to do was stick it on the front, and it bent just slightly and it broke right off. So I had to super glue it, but it's just irritating. Like, why would they make them so flimsy? That's such a disappointment. So here's what the Diamond one looks like next to the Matty one. And you know, just this Matty one just destroys it. This one isn't that great. You know, I think this looks like too intentional. Like, it just looks like a blue, or it looks like an orange wire wrapped with a blue wire, right? There's nothing sporadic, or, you know, it's supposed to be energy. It's supposed to be just kind of, or lightning almost. It's supposed to just kind of be going all over the place without real any thought, I guess. And I think the Matty one does that a lot better. You know, this one, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of this one. The We're Back Ghostbusters from Ghostbusters 2 all came with Santa Claus hats, and instead of being soft Santa Claus hats, these are actually all sculpted to fit the Ghostbusters head that they came with. So, like, you know, they're all shaped, every one of them is shaped differently depending on which Ghostbuster it belongs to. And when you put them on the heads, they fit nice and snug. The Ghostbusters 2 figures Also came with different colored belts. Obviously, it's the same exact belt as the Ghostbusters 1 figures, but they painted it black, and they added this Lifeguard 2 thing, this yellow piece. And I do really like these charcoal colored Ghostbuster costumes. Both Slime Blower Winston and Slime Blower Ray came with this stream of mood slime. And I really like this a lot. This is great. You know, I wish they would have given... I wish Matty would have given something to their Slime Blower action figures. This looks great. All you gotta do is you take your Slime Blower Ray or Winston, and it's got a very long peg or, you know, piece at the end. You just gotta jam that sucker in there, and it gets in there. The only thing is it's a little heavy, so it kind of weighs this guy down, especially since the diamond figures don't stand the best. They fall over all the time. So, you know, it's cool, but you got a little bit of problems there. Slime Blower Ray also came with this head of Vigo. Well, you know, I guess it's possessed Ray as Vigo. And I've never put this on my Slime Blower Ray because I'm too afraid I'm going to break the neck joint. Like, I can't get the head. I've tried to pull it and it doesn't move. And, you know, they're not the easiest figures to come across, the Ghostbusters 2 Diamond Select figures, so I just kind of let it be. I didn't really think about this, but I guess, you know, you could also put this head on your Vigo toy. I always forget that his head turns this way, you know, for like 30 seconds in the film before Ray gets possessed. Both Ghostbusters 2 Egon and Slime Blower Ray came with a canister of pink mood slime. And I like these. These are cool. Here's the Geiger meter that this came with Ghostbusters 2 Egon, and this looks great. You know, this looks way better than the Matty one that came out. Here you can see the two side by side, and obviously this one is way more movie accurate than this one. Like, why did they make this silver? That doesn't even make any sense. Ghostbusters 2 Winston also came with this awesome slime scooper. And, you know, I love this thing. This looks great, too. It reminds me, you know, just of that scene whenever Ray's trying to stick it into the river of slime. And I think it looks pretty great. Here, let's take a look and see how it looks in the movie. Now, here's something I had in my box of Diamond Select Ghostbuster toys, and I couldn't figure out who the heck this goes with. If you know who this flashlight goes to, let me know. I need to know who came with this flashlight. I don't know. It's a nice looking flashlight, but I have no idea which figure came with this. The Janine action figure came with a couple of accessories. She came with some boxes of Chinese food. She came with the button to ring the Ghostbusters alarm. And she also came with a telephone. Oh, look at that. Janine also had an extra set of hands. That's cool. Dana, and just for the sake of being complete here, I will also mention that Dana Barrett also had a second set of hands, but my gosh, what did they do to Dana? Janos came with his little pack-in baby, so I guess that counts as accessory technically, but to me that's a figure. And also Janos came with an extra set of hands for Vigo. The Terror Dogs came with 2 sets of horns, which is great. So you could either make one Vince Clortho, and if you bought a second one, you could switch the horns and make him Zool, or her Zool. Gozer came with some accessories, but like these are like almost worthless, pretty much. Like these hands, she has 2 sets of open hands, and one is just like slightly closed, but hardly at all. Like, what was the point of this? Not only that, but check out this extra head she has. Wow, big difference. You can see her teeth on this one. Like, they couldn't make her look like this from the movie. Like, that was awesome. You know who made a face like that? NECA did. In general, I think Diamond Select did a pretty decent job of, you know, packing all these guys with a ton of great stuff that you could use and, you know, display them with. Not only that, but the diorama pieces are amazing too. Like, seriously. How was Diamond only selling these at $25 a piece? That's crazy. So now we're at Hasbro, and I gotta say, their offerings are very light. You know, just a year before Hasbro started releasing their toys, Diamond Select was releasing theirs, just packed with stuff for 25 bucks. And now we're getting these smaller Ghostbusters with only like one accessory a piece for $20 on a much broader scale. Like, you couldn't buy Diamond toys in Walmart and Target and all that kind of stuff, and you could buy the Plasma series everywhere. And I don't think the bath pieces, you know, really even things out either. So at least since they only have a few items, you know, it's all important stuff. Of course, like what were they going to do? However, like things like this trap looks nice, you know, sort of like the Matty one. The details are a little soft, like there's nothing really exaggerated, like the dials on the front don't stick out, the dial on the side here doesn't, it's not painted black like it should be. The rods are red, so that's correct. You know, the plate on the front isn't painted, and, you know, this stuff on the side looks pretty good too. And, you know, that thing isn't painted gold or, you know, like a copper color or whatever, but it still looks fine. In general, everything looks pretty decent on it. The biggest problem for me is they didn't even include a hole here, so, you know, they're never going to have a pedal that you could connect to this. So you're either going to have to wait until you get a trap that has a pedal, and who knows when or if that will be. So that's kind of a bummer. And just like the underside is, you know, it's open. So if anything, it feels a little cheap. I wish they would have included the pedal with this thing. All right, so from Matty to Diamond to Hasbro, these are all the ghost traps. Obviously, the most movie accurate one is the one from Diamond Select. But there are, I mean, in general, they're all adequate. They all look very nice. So I don't think you can really go wrong with any of them. And, you know, I gotta say, I like the Matty one the best because you have the open one with the actual energy stream that comes out on top. I think that really sets it aside above the others. Egon, of course, came with the PKE meter, and in general, the shape of this thing is pretty good. It looks closer to the Matty one, more like the shape of how it is in the film. You even have like the switches on here, and you can kind of make out the buttons, but, you know, there's no paint here to indicate any of the lights, so that's a little bit of a bummer. And also, I think what's even worse than that is they didn't paint the wings on this thing. It's all just black, except for that green screen. So, you know, that's a typical Hasbro move of just not painting things. And I do like there is like a little peg here on the side of this thing, so you can plug it into Egon's belt and have him carry it around. And Egon can hold the PKE meter very well. It fits nice in the hand, it's not loose, it's not fallen or anything like that. So from Matty to Diamond to Hasbro, this is how all the PKE meters look. And, you know, here the clear winner for me is Matty. I mean, not only did they get all the lights correct, they have all the silver buttons on it. The wings are painted. The shape of it is great. And, you know, I didn't even really notice this until taking a nice look at this with the lights. You see the little green dots on there that indicate that it's actually like detecting a ghost. That's great. So, in my opinion, the best PKE meter goes to Matty Collector. Up next, Ray came with the Ecto goggles. Of course, like, who else would come with the Ecto goggles? Peter's not going to come with it. And, you know, the shape of them in the front look nice, but obviously they're not movie accurate because they don't have the strap that comes up in the middle and the back. And, you know, just like every other, or most Hasbro things, there's some paint lacking on the, you know, these bits here should be black instead of just being the green. And even the strap should be black. So here you go, from Matty to Diamond to Hasbro. And obviously here, the best looking one is the Diamond goggles. They actually fit, like, the Hasbro one actually does fit their Ray head very well. It just doesn't have that strap on top. And the Matty one is just a pretty big disappointment. But the Diamond one, you know, I think looks the best out of all three. See, the Ecto goggles actually do look good on him. They fit well. I have the strap pushed down too far. But, you know, they do fit on well, and they look right proportionately to the face, unlike the Matty ones. And if you were curious, here's how he's holding the trap. Obviously, he holds the trap very well. The hand fits right around the, the handle there. Winston came with the Proton Stream, and I've got like mixed feelings about this thing. I think that like it kind of looks cool. I like the translucent plastic. I think the blue and the orange look cool together. But you know, like to me, the stream doesn't necessarily look like the movie, I guess. And the blue is a very soft rubber or plastic. I don't know what you count this as. And I don't know. I just think that it's all right. I'm glad, like Matty, you don't have to have that little extra piece there to connect this. You know, you gotta. This is very soft, and you just kind of stick it over the silver part there, and you're good to go. Now you're ready to blast some ghosts. So, from Matty to Diamond to Hasbro, here are the 3 streams. And you might have gotten a Ghostbusters stream with every single Ghostbuster toy that came out with Diamond, but man, I don't think they could top the Matty ones. The Matty ones to me just look amazing. They look great. I love the color on them. They look fantastic. You know, I like the translucent plastic. The Hasbro one is translucent, but there's just something off about it. Like, it just doesn't look as cool or dynamic, I guess, as the Matty one. So for me, Matty takes the cake here. They did a really great job, I think, with this Proton Stream. And it's just a bummer that they didn't package them with every Ghostbuster. So you either had to wait for the 2 packs, or you had to get your Peter in 2010 and your Ray in 2011. And after that, I mean, that was it. Like, that sucks. Like, they should have given these out more and really like let everybody know how cool these Proton Streams are. This stream battle is like not even fair. Like, nobody, I don't think the other people could really compete with Matty's Proton Stream. And I think that the plastics, the see-through plastic of the Hasbro one is cool, but there's just something about the blue that like just looks, it looks too intentional. Like there's something about it. It looks too full. There's too much of it there. Where the Matty one looks more like sporadic and creative. So the last accessory that we have for Hasbro is this colander helmet that came with Lewis in the exclusive Lewis Tully's Terrible Night 2-pack with a terror dog. And this is pretty cool. You just kind of very easily strap this on top of his head. So I'll probably go into more of this in part 4 of this retrospective when I talk about side characters in this in all these Ghostbuster lines. But I'll just say this really quick. Regarding the colander helmet, I like the Matty one better. I think that, because it has all these little bits and pieces like coming off of it, it makes it look more dynamic and more exciting than this one. This is just very round and flat. Like, it's cool. The colors are very nice on it. It looks nice, but I just kind of prefer that the Matty one. It might not be 100% accurate, but I have to check the movie and see which one is accurate. Which one is the accurate colander? Let's find out. Well, obviously here the Matty colander helmet looks a lot better than the Hasbro one. It just, there's stuff sticking all off of it in the movie. The Matty one actually looks pretty movie accurate. Every figure in the Hasbro line came with a bath piece, build a figure, so you could build your own terror dog. And, the terror dog looks very nice. He's cool. I'll talk about him more when I get to the ghost section next episode of this. But in general, I would have much rather they give the Ghostbusters more equipment, or at least give them their own Proton Streams, or, give them something like that instead of giving them a bath. And they should have released the terror dogs by themselves. Like, they should have packaged these guys in their own little box or something like that. But let's face it, they probably knew that, Dana, I'm going to be a little honest here. I don't think Dana is a huge seller. Like, I've seen Dana in lots of places just sitting on pegs. And I am sure that they probably figured, well, in order to move those Dana figures, we need to pack the Terror Dog piece in there. That'll help move them all. So that was a lot to process, so let me try to wrap this all up for you. The Proton streams are all nice, but I love the Matty ones. I think they're great, and I think the Diamond Select ones are kind of garbage. You know, they look okay, but they don't function well. The beams for the Matty traps really pushes their traps above the other ones for me. I really love that translucent blue, and you know, even though it doesn't have all the painted detail, the closed trap looks fine. It looks almost exactly as good as I think the diamond one. You know, Matty has more variants of the PKE meter, and they're painted better. You actually can see all the different colors that are supposed to be there, and you have all the buttons that are supposed to be there, and you have the dots on the screen. That's great. The Ecto goggles are all nice, but Diamond has the best. The Geiger meter in the Diamond series looks way better too. From the Matty series, the standouts are the Ghost Sniffer, the Globuscope, the Cud meter, or KUD meter, how do you pronounce that? And the awesome Tripod Trap, I love that thing. And for Diamond, the standouts are the Slime Scooper and the canister of slime, and I guess that extra head that comes with Slime Blower Ray, the Vigo possessed head. The Diorama could push Diamond to number 1 for me, but I could probably live without the Diorama, even if I wouldn't want to. The design of the Matty Accessories just kind of do a whole lot more for me. And, you know, the beams just really stick out. Like, I love the Proton stream or beam, and I love the energy coming out of the trap. Like, I wish that Diamond would have had more stuff like that, and it actually would have been a little functional and didn't break on you all the time. So, you may disagree with me, but I lean towards the Matty Accessories. I think Matty Collector did the best. It was close, but I just liked their stuff better. I thought they had more to offer. Since we're done with the Proton Packs and the accessories, I figured I'd have a little intermission here where I talk about the Diorama, because I just kind of glanced over it during the accessories. And you know, every Diamond Select figure came packaged with a piece of a Diorama. And for waves 1 through 5, they all came with a piece of this awesome rooftop scene from the first Ghostbusters movie. And you know, this thing's great. First of all, it's huge. And now I'm breaking the fourth wall because you can see some of my other stuff on the side there. But, you know, this thing takes up pretty much my whole table where I shoot my reviews here. And it's just awesome, you know. I like this thing a lot. The Terror Dog statues are pretty great. If anything, I would say that, like, you can use all 3 lines with the rooftop diorama. And, you know, it's made specifically for the 7-inch Diamond figures. But I feel like they're too big for it. I kind of like how the Matty figures look, or the Hasbro ones. I used to have most pieces to the Firehouse diorama. The only figure that I didn't buy ever was Janos. I picked up every single other one from waves 6 through 10. But, you know, after a while, I just kind of decided that I didn't need it. I sold it way back in 2019. It was really awesome. I thought it was really cool, but I just couldn't see myself in the future, like, putting it up somewhere. Like, it's not as interactive, I guess, with the action figures as, like, the rooftop scene, because it's just the front of the building. So to me, it wasn't that exciting, even though it looks awesome. So eventually I sold it, and I sold it to somebody on eBay who was a huge Ghostbusters fan in France. So if you're from France and you're that dude I sold you the Ghostbusters Firehouse to, you're welcome. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, on to category 12, the final category in this video that's been mostly about equipment and accessories, the Slime Blower. I like the Slime Blower a lot. In fact, I like Ghostbusters 2 a lot. Like, I know that movie's polarizing. Some people think it's like the worst sequel of all time, but come on, that's crazy talk. It's watchable. You can find something out of it. There's some scary parts. There's some pretty funny jokes, like straightening the slinky and all that kind of stuff. I love the ghosts, like the Scolari brothers and the Cinema Ghost. Those are all cool. And the new equipment is all awesome. You know, the Geigometer and the tripod traps, and especially the slime blowers. So far, only Matty and Diamond have released slime blower figures, but I'm sure Hasbro will put them out if they can. So let's take a look at these two different takes on the slime blower. There's not an awful lot of shots of the slime blowers outside of the film, so you're either kind of stuck looking at very dark still frames from the movie, or if you buy this Ghostbusters Ultimate Visual History book, inside of here there's a very nice picture of the slime blower. So I kind of used this and some still frames to figure out how this thing is supposed to look on these toys. And over here you even have a picture of the sprayer. Let's begin by talking about the vests. Here you can see Winston in the film, and he's got his cool vest on underneath the straps of his slime blower. I think the purpose of the vest is that it's just supposed to be padded, and it's supposed to protect their shoulders from the weight of the slime blower, because apparently they were really heavy. So they got the vest on, and you can see how it's connected from side to side with those brown plates. There's straps connected to those that pull the vest together, right? And you can see that the straps are heavy and that they're actually pulling down on the vest, but the vest is padded, so it's kind of bulging out on the sides of the straps, right? So let's take a look and see which toy company did the vest the best, right? In my opinion, I think Matty did a way better job. I think that the general look of this thing, how it like kind of puffs out the side underneath all these other details, looks very much like the vest in the film. This is just way too flat. It's not very dynamic. It looks kind of weird. It just kind of looks like he's wearing like a sweater with a sleeveless sweater or something like that. And you know, you could say that possibly these plates could be a little shorter, but in general, it just looks so much better. So I really don't care. Especially down here where it's not connected. It looks natural. It looks good that way. Over here, it looks like kind of sloppy. Like they just kind of stuck it all together and we're hoping it was going to be fine. Like these plates are way too small, and I don't know, nothing about this looks on to me with the vest. The straps of the slime blower do sit on top of this, but doesn't really look like it's interacting with it all, where the straps on this one, you know, it looks like the slime blower is really heavy. It looks like the straps are being pulled down and the sides of this vest are bulging out. So Matty did a better vest. I remember when Matty revealed these slime blower toys at the first Comic-Con that they appeared at, and you know, I remember people were upset because originally they just had the Winston figure with a slime blower on his back. They didn't even have the vest in there, so a bunch of people wrote and were like, you got to put the vest in there, you can't forget that. And you know, like I said, they did a good job. You can see how like they even have this strap here going across from the front or the back to the front. Like some of this is incorrect because you would have this gap, sort of like this one does, where this strap is pulling the back towards the front. But you know, that's fine. I really don't mind about that. Now, if you're talking about the actual frame of the slime blower, this gets a little tricky in here because it's kind of hard to see it. But they have the Alice frame underneath the slime blower, keeping it in place. I don't know if it's the same setup as the Proton Pack, but it looks very similar. And here you can see that they did do that with the Diamond Select figure. You do have the Alice frame, and the strap is connected to that up here in the shoulders, and it comes down here and connects to this little, like a, you know, black triangle, rectangle kind of thing. And you can see this thing in the film. You can see how it's all set up, but it's just, in general, you don't really get a lot of different angles of this thing, so it's kind of hard to see it. And then, if you look, that piece does connect to the belt and connects to the front. So one of the things that Matty is missing is this belt, and you can actually see this belt in the film around here, but like I tried to scrub through this, through the scenes with the slime blower, and it's just kind of tough to see the belt. On the Matty one, some of that detail is lost, but you can kind of make out that they're kind of doing that, where you kind of have a hint of these details here, and how they would connect to this strap that would go across their stomach. And you can't really make out a shape for the Alice frame, but you know, it's still okay. I mean, more so than this one, it just looks a little plugged into the back. So you might, you know, think that's a negative for that. I think that's one of the areas where Diamond has the upper hand. Like I said, I think it's a little better. Not to mention that the Diamond Select slime blower actually has the cushion behind Winston's head here, and it actually has a little sticker that says no handle. So here's a shot from the movie where you can see the behind of the slime blower, and you can get a general sense of what the proportions are going to look like. I had to brighten this up a little bit so you could actually make out some of the details. And here's the toys. And in my opinion, out of both of these, I like the Matty one better. I think that the proportions of everything looks closer to the film. Like the size of this tank compared to this tank, I think looks better than this one does. This one maybe looks a little too short or something like that. Like it should have been a little higher. And even if you look at it behind his head, it doesn't appear as high behind his head as it should in the movie. I like these black tubes better. And even if you look at the shot of the lights on the in the film or in that book, the shape of this thing looks more like the movie than the shape of this one. This is just like kind of like a flat rectangle on top of that tank. But this one doesn't. And I like just the size of these tubes, right? Because you have a bunch of things going through here. You want to have stuff traveling through these tubes, so these tubes need to have some kind of thickness to them. And same thing with this. This actually looks very much like the movie down here. But here, all these tubes just look like wires. Like they're way too thin, especially this one right here. So that's like a misstep by them. And I also think that the colors of these little bits, like here and over here, they're closer to the movie than these yellow bits right here. Like these are too yellow. This thing is better on the diamond one. This bottom piece with the little sticker here, that looks more like the film than what they did here. But other than that, like pretty much everything I think looks better here. It doesn't have the stickers on the sides of it like the diamond one does. But I could almost live without the stickers as long as you had a better looking shape of this thing. Even this piece right here where you have these little tiny golden or like these brass connector pieces, that looks more like the film than this one does. And this toy is 1 inch scale, 1 inch smaller than this guy. And like all this stuff, like the tubes, are the same size. It's like even at this angle too, like they still have these shapes here. Like you have all those shapes that you need. It's just they didn't fully do it, So I don't know. It's like a mix. It's just a mixed bag. Like this, technically some of this is more movie accurate than this, but I prefer a lot of the detail here. I don't know where this tube is supposed to come out to, right? Right here they have it coming out of this brown sphere, and over here they kind of have it traveling up, and I can't even see where it's connected in here. But one thing is that in the film, the tube does come from this direction and connects to the sprayer, where on the Matty one, it comes from this direction and connects onto the sprayer. Alright, so now it's time to talk about the sprayer. And first of all, I want to mention this. This sprayer, this is the diamond sprayer. This is way too small for the Ghostbusters. This is the Matty one, and the Matty one is actually bigger than this one. It's like fatter. And, the Ghostbusters hold them perfectly. This one is way too small. It's almost impossible to get your Ghostbusters to hold the right way. Plus, the strap is not long enough, and it just kind of gets stuck, and I don't know. Like, the execution of this thing was not the best. But there is some things on here, like, you have the rivets here. That is more movie accurate. You do have the 2 little lights here on top of this box. You have this red thing here, right? And this black piece is closer to the red thing. That looks all good. That's movie accurate. But in general, and you do have the strap going around, right? The general shape of this thing is more movie accurate, except it should be painted black. This handle over here should be like brown. And but other than that, like I don't know, it's not that great. The way that these circles are sculpted here aren't the best. And oh, this thing too. The position of where this tube is coming out, that's fine too. But the Matty one, You know, some things are a little better. Like this is black, even though they don't have the lights. They do have the correct color on here. The handle here is black. That's correct. They have the sections, they have these two little things sticking out where you would have straps go around the Ghostbuster. So maybe if you could drill a hole here and tie a little strap around them. This handle is better. And, you know, you do have this little black thing next to the red thing. And, you know, it looks good, but it's just not as proportionally accurate to the movie. But it's still, in my opinion, fine. And up here you have, like, the circles of this look a lot more similar to the circles in the actual movie version. This tube is coming out in the wrong spot. This tube should probably be coming out underneath here. So that's incorrect, but in general, it just looks a lot better, I think. Especially even these like little connectors coming out the back. I think those look fine too. I think those are nice. So here's the sprayer, where you can kind of get a general sense of how this is lined up. Keep in mind too that this handle does rotate around, so it doesn't just stay here. But in general, this looks pretty similar, I think, to this picture inside of this visual book. I think that actually looks pretty similar. And here you can see the diamond one, and you know, this, I don't know. I think it's not as good as the Matty one, proportionally or something. There's just something off about it. And this is some of what I'm talking about. Like, look how small this sprayer is. Like, look how close the two handles are to each other. And it's just incredibly difficult to line it up so that, you know, this handle is in this hand. You have the strap on top, and you're trying to get the other one over there. And it's like, it's almost impossible. Like, I cannot tell you how much I've, like, fumbled with this thing to try to get it to line up right. It's like you can't reach two handles at the same time. Well, that's like kind of close to where you want to be. Most of the times I just kind of stick the one hand under here and kind of put the other one underneath and just kind of hold it that way. So I think if anything, it fails in that department. Kind of like the wand. I think the wand was way too small too. The wand was was the exact same size as the Matty one. They were too small. They made their equipment way too small for their hands. And like, look at the size of this thing. And then look at how it looks in the movie. Look at it. Like, it's way too small. But now you can see how the Matty one looks holding this thing, and I think it's way better. You know, it may not be as movie accurate or have all the extra special little details, but it looks better. It looks proportionate to his body in a way that it should be. In my opinion, the best thing about this slime blower Winston figure, other than some of the cooler details in the back of this thing, is this awesome slime flow, or, you know, whatever you would call it. And, you know, this thing just sticks in here like so. But, you know, I don't even, when I display this guy, I don't even really put these on him because, first of all, it's just, come on. You cannot get him to hold this. And the thing is kind of heavy too, so it's always just kind of knocking him over. Like, man, this is it's cool, but it's very frustrating. It's a shame that Matty didn't make like some kind of slime stream to go with this slime blower. I think it really would have made this even cooler. But in general, my favorite slime blower is the Matty one. I think it wins hands down. You know, there might be some extra bits and some more detailed things on the diamond one that makes it more movie accurate, but the frustration I have with it just is so high. Not to mention, I just think some of the proportions are off and the vests don't look as nice. I think in general, some of the details might not be the best, you know, like around the Alice frame. That's where Matty kind of skimped out on it a little bit, but, you know, like, I can get past that and get past the stickers missing and just like the overall look of it, because if you just keep on going back and forth from the movie to the toy, you know, it just matches so much better. It just aesthetically, it's more aesthetically pleasing to the eye, and I don't know, it's just built better. And then, like, especially here, look, I got two hands on this thing. He's comfortably holding this with two hands. That's what you need, man. You need your Ghostbusters to actually be able to hold their equipment to bust their ghosts. Not be like, you know, losing it all over the place, while you're trying to catch some, or, you know, destroy Vigo, the Carpathian. And that's it. We're done with part 3. And now what's next in part 4? Well, I'm going to talk about the side characters and all the ghosts. So, you know, that's not going to be as much as this. That's all I know. There was so much equipment to talk about in this, it was ridiculous. And, you know, in my honest opinion, Matty could have won this hands down. If it, like, there was just a couple of things on the Diamond Proton Pack that really made it stand above Matty. But the Matty's one is almost just as good, you know. It's got a lot of good things going for it. Matty really excelled with all the accessories and equipment. They were really paying attention. And, you know, the best thing is the Ghostbusters could hold all their stuff. So that's fantastic. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you disagreed with me. I'll try to have part 4 up real soon. Thanks, and talk to you later.